How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another public video for New Biology Clinic. First one for 2026. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful holiday with their family, friends, loved ones in general. And I hope everyone's feeling refreshed, feeling well, feeling excited, feeling motivated. Even in these crazy times, you're finding the power within yourself to be motivated to better yourself, first and foremost. So if you're in that place and if you're excited and you want to learn, you want to grow. One thing that I was just talking about in a class or a session today with one of the members, a really, really lovely individual, was talking about what keeps us motivated, what is going to allow us to keep the drive in order to succeed towards our goals. Some of us find ourselves constantly getting motivated, and then maybe it doesn't work out, or we, as they say, fall off the bandwagon. And I know I've done videos about this, but I definitely want to dive into this some more, and really just hit this point right on the head. And that is that what is it that's going to drive a lot of us to be motivated or do something, right? Like when we do something in our lives, something is driving that. Now, a lot of times, if it's like taxes or, you know, dealing with billing or registering, like that stuff, a lot of people don't do it because for any other reason, usually because they know they have to. And this is where we see a lot of times people procrastinate those types of things. As much as it stinks, understandably, you just don't want to have to deal with it. You realize, all those thoughts come into your head of like, why am I doing this? It sucks. I get it. But ultimately, we have to make that choice because we realize the consequences of not doing it. And I'm just talking very briefly, very loosely on public here. When we don't do them, we realize that for those aren't fully aware that it could be bad. Something bad can happen, whether it be going to jail, get fined, whatever it is. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, I understand what many of you will probably say to that. But all that to be said, being that we're public, this is why we don't do them. That being said, when it comes to our health and our wellness, and it comes to doing things that we know can benefit us, why is there a lot of times a lack of motivation to do those things for people? And a lot of times it could be because of past injuries, the concern that it's going to happen again, understandably. But a big piece of that is a lack of curiosity. And what I mean by that is that a lot of times what drives motivation is it has to come from a spark of an idea. But with an idea, a spark of anything, usually there's it's attached to some form of curiosity. Like if you have an idea about something, whether it's a song, whether it's a business idea, whether it's, I want to get into shape. Well, what does that look like? What should I even do? How do I even do that? And those questions, that thought process starts to build a curiosity. And a lot of times when we see ourselves or we see other people, like in my situation, where people are going, 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 and then all of a sudden they kind of like, I just, just life got in the way, things happen, which understandable. But a lot of times what tends to happen is the curiosity starts to, that spark of curiosity starts to fade, and that light that's illuminating within us, that's giving us the fire to go, tends to tends to go out a little bit. Not that it's out for good, it's just it's not as bright. And this is where people talk about I need to get motivated again. And a lot of times they're thinking, well, if I just go do this, this will drive that. And the reality is that doesn't always work, because what's changed is your curiosity has changed. Once you've kind of understood something, a lot of people, they're no longer curious. They now know the answer. They've explored. And this is why you'll see a lot of people try different modalities, at least from my understanding, is that because they're like, I'm curious as to what that looks like. So people will go hard for a really long time following the modalities, following a plan. And a lot of times it just, for them, it doesn't, that curiosity starts to fade. And then you see people who look like more the bodybuilding world. Their curiosity is, can I be the best? Can I be this? I want to be that. Now that curiosity is driving. It's driving a motivation of, could I do this? And yeah, I can. Okay, let me see. Let me see what that looks like. I'm curious. If I put the work in, can I do that? And that drives and can motivate people a long time. So as you're going into this new year, I want you to ask yourself, what are you curious about in regards to your health and wellness? Are you curious to see, can I lose 10 pounds? Can I lose 5 pounds? I'm curious, can I avoid or allow myself the permission to, you know, not indulge every evening? Can I try one evening where I just don't indulge? I'm just curious to see if I can do it. And with that starts to create these sparks. Because if you can try one thing and do it, you've set your mind to an intention of like, okay, let me see if I can do this. You got my attention, body. Here we go. Let's see what happens. And this is where it allows us, again, I've talked about these wins, but it's a small win, little wins as we go that keep the curiosity, that keep the questions, that keep the wanting to explore more. And if we can get to that place where you can go, yeah, man, I'm curious to see, can I, you know what, can I do this? And if I've done it one day out of the 7 other days of the week, one day where I did it, it's like, okay, I know I can do it. Let me see if I can do it again. Let me see if I could try that again. Hey, you know what? I went for a walk. I want to go. Can I walk around this block? No. Okay. Instead of getting defeated, maybe going, all right, I'm curious. Can I go wherever I did go? I'm curious, can I go an extra 20 yards? All right, if I did it, then I did it. I know that's possible. And that's what drives a lot of this motivation is we think I need to be motivated, but we don't know what we mean by motivation. It's knowing that it's coming from curiosity. We have to be curious about our being. And this is why a lot of times, even when people explore modalities, they get tired of the modality because they know the choreography, they know the movements. A lot of times they know what it's going to feel like. But when you're curious about your own body in the sense of like what can I do? Like what is available to me? How can I feel all of this? Can I balance? Can I hold my arm out long enough? How long can I hold that out? Just these little things that you can do to just start going inward into your own body and explore. You're going to start to see the curiosity takes over. And you'll start to see it doesn't have to be strenuous. It doesn't have to be pushing your limit. That all will come. And why that will come is because once we find something that drives enough curiosity that creates that beautiful spark within us to be motivated or find that motivation, I don't have to, or none of us have to tell you to do something. You'll do it. And I see this again, and I hear this all the time. It's like, I know what I need to do. A lot of times people say, I know what I need to do. I just can't do it. Or it's just so hard to do it. And it's going, okay, it's not a matter of you knowing that, like, maybe you don't need to eat as much. Maybe it's not, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's things you'll learn and technicalities, but it really does come down to if you already know it, then what's stopping you? And it's that curiosity, the curiosity to see if whatever is going to drive it that creates the spark of motivation. And once you have that, we don't need to say anything. Your actions will, you'll know already intuitively want to go do something. You'll be like, I want to do this. I want to make this a habit. I'll make time however I can, and that's where we want to be. That's a beautiful place to be because now you're being present with self, you're being curious, and then you start to explore your potential. And that potential will always be changing every single day as long as you find yourself checking in, being present with self, and knowing if you're going to push your limit, you're going to challenge yourself. It also has to come with learning how to cool yourself down, breathe, let your body know to be calm under that pressure, under that tension, under that stress. If you can continue to do that, you'll see longevity. You'll see that this idea of a lifelong of, moving and being present and finding yourself in your body isn't a chore. It isn't like I have to do this. You're going to go, I just love this feeling because I'm always finding things to be curious about in how I move, how I stand, how I sit, how I hold myself. What are my isms, little things like that. So I hope this helps. I hope you find pleasure in these videos. Gonna have a lot more coming in the new year. So on that, if you want to see more, join into more conversations and classes, newbiologyclinic.com, where you can find me, you can find other practitioners or the other practitioners, the other enrichment service programs like myself. And we'll hope to see you all there and have a lovely rest of your January 2026. All right, see you guys. Bye.